Whoever that is. Oh, so, the theme that has been in the front of my mind a lot is how we keep the sanctity of our own minds in the midst of all this barrage of things that can just make you so overtaken with anger or fear or whatever in a way that gets inside of you that is completely not helpful. So that has been like a theme that it keeps coming out of me in various ways. But I want to start us off with, I studied on and off for many years with Diane DePrima, and probably one of her better poems, Rant. I just took some excerpts out of it, and I'm going to read some of those because you'll see why. The war that matters is the war against the imagination. All other wars are subsumed in it. Without imagination, there is no memory. Without imagination, there is no will. The ground of imagination is fearlessness. The ultimate famine is the starvation of the imagination. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. This is all in caps. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. All other wars are subsumed in it. There is no way out of the spiritual battle. The war is the war against the imagination. You can't sign up as a conscientious objector. The war of the worlds hangs here right now in the balance. It is a war for this world to keep it a veil of soul making. The taste in all our mouths is the taste of power, and it is bitter as death. The war is the war for the human imagination, and no one can fight it but you, and no one can fight it for you. The imagination is not only holy, it is precise. It is not only fierce, it is practical. Men die every day for lack of it. So I just wanted to offer that because it's been with me a lot, just helping me stay sane, to just watch what's happening here. As I take in what's going on, and how do I manage what happens with my imagination? So I can share screen, huh? I'm going to try this. For many decades, I've clipped my junk mail, and occasionally I go through a bout of making poems out of it. So I'm hoping I can share what this looks like. Oh yeah, good. Let me just read one of these. I have a couple of them. Oh, well, it's got two of them. Well, anyway, I will start with this. It's just all on that same theme of the sanctity of our minds. It's hard to read on that screen, so I'm going to grab a print version of it. What you need to know to know. So this is all clipped pieces out of junk mail. Be an informed skeptic, like to know more, learn how you think about thinking. Be the first to know what you need to know. Open your eyes to how you decide. Demystify the American mind. Choose freedom of choice. Retrain your brain to follow truth over lies. Deadly lies force you to look closer. The reality is that fear-based worldview changed our understanding of reality, changed the way you look at frightening facts, at reactions all around you. Why does stress affect you the way it does? What's really going on in an age of Twitter? Please confirm that you can trust how your brain is wired. And do you know what real laughter sounds like? Let's see, I'm going to stop sharing. Save that other one for later. Another one on the same theme. May I have your attention, please? This is not a commercial or a government warning. This is not a coup overtaking your mind. It will not sell your name to bankers and bureaucrats. It won't hack your face or your book. This isn't a lottery or a free for all or a winner takes all or telling who did who and who's going to take the fall. This is not a luxury cruise. You still got to make your own bed, and you're probably not going much of anywhere except maybe in. This is not someone else's dream masquerading as your own. It's nobody's profile or dating app or firewall. It won't single you out except to yourself. It can't set you free, though it's a start. This isn't apples or oranges. It isn't a mandate or blind fate or a goat to escape. It isn't a walk in the park either, unless you're walking in the park, happy in the green. It's not your mama's poem, though she can have it if she wants. It doesn't need feeding or burping or changing. It doesn't need to be hosed down or hung out to dry. It doesn't own a bus. And if it did, it would never throw you under it. It isn't confidential, though it does need guarding. It doesn't have an expiration date. It is not a command, though it is a vote. It won't unlock your car or your front door, though you might hear your mind clicking open, coming all the way home. All right, so I'm going to switch gears for a few poems here. I've been going through a lot of old files and finding all kinds of stuff and made a few found poems along the way. So this is one of those for all of us, but especially for those who remember Carlos Ramirez. That's called St. Carlos the Melodious. And it was gathered and arranged and embellished from comments made at the memorial gathering for Carlos at St. Martin's de Porres Hospitality House on Potrero Street in 2013. St. Carlos the Melodious, a found poem for Carlos Ramirez, 1938 to 2013. So Carlos used to come a lot to Sacred Grounds. This is a big part of why I'm reading this poem about him. Went out on his Alvarado Street roof every morning at 7 a.m. to crow. He was a cloud walking around in pants. He'd rather be a sparrow than a snail. He was a teacher who did not go by the lesson plan, his presence announcing that all God's critters sing in the choir. Listened to his interior self at all costs and was never heard to say an unkind word about another person. He was like the sun rising from the heart of creation to bring us joy. He sang about waltzing bears on his phone machine. Giving you his full gaze, he'd ask, "Who loves you, baby?" Then answer, "You do." Poets are many. Those whose lives are poetry are few. Carlos was one, forever woven into San Francisco's tender tangle. Remember him by being on the hunt for all the good things in your life. Imagine inconceivable joy, then beam a loving smile to everyone you meet in his honor. Thanks. So a few more fun ones. Where poems hide. Written in the silence after temple bell toll, in forgotten ancient language on an unearthed scroll, green earth poems groan creaking toward the sun, or hide where bodies do not follow when a life is done. An empty space that's been unfilled, a wild storm refusing to be stilled. In echoes at the back of caves, in all the as yet unfilled graves, in voices of the ones who've had no say, in recollecting what it means to pray, rustling in the urgent laugh of leaves, spying through the window from the eaves, waiting to fulfill your endless vow that lifts your hand to grab a pen right now. Okay. Oh, nice to see more people joining us here. So this is another found poem. I'm just having like a Diane de Prima theme run through a lot of these poems tonight. It's gathered and arranged in notes jotted during Diane de Prima's last poetics class series in summer 2019. I don't know why I was doing that, but just found that file, and this poem is the reason I was doing that. Poetic Guidance from Diane DePrima, a found poem. In the morning, when you're not quite you, ride that to other times and places. Overhear things. Trust a tiny piece of memory and keep going. Be completely on your own side. Write at the same time each day, and your body will depend on it. Nothing is as important as writing in the time you set aside for writing. Kickstart, make a collage, sharpen pencils, light a candle. What you do with your actual selves is more important than image. Image is more important than words. Organizing is as important as anything. Take a walk, look for clues, all senses. What happened on that very street in that very spot? Pick a color, see it everywhere you go. Window shop for a character you might want to wear. Ask about or to for any poem. Think of those you're writing for, not those who will be upset by what you write. Write the history only you know. Read, read, read. Read obituaries. Keep a notebook of title pages with no content. Let it come. Or pull down a book and grab a passage to start. See stuff between the lines on the page. Insert moment interruptions in your piece and look for coincidence. Study alchemy, biology. Don't understand it. Don't believe it. Know it's true. Scary fork in the road. What is your poem's darkest secret, its biggest fear? Ask the I Ching, the tarot. Write what you must never write. Bored, hungry, can't sit there one more minute? You're probably on to something. Hold still through all your bad writing, through all your frightened, jealous critics. If there's something you're doing well, they'll pay you anything to stop doing it. Believe the news they never teach you. Things you hate are waiting to delight you if you take the time to learn them. When stuck, cut in dreams, cut in comic books. Write for all beings, write your own death poem. For heaven's sake, don't believe your opinions. Accept the limits of your body. The requirements of our life is the shape of our art. That was just like a little piece of Diane. Man, she was so many things. Like I never met anybody else like her. I'm telling you, she's something. Okay, so this is 4 lines in search of a poem. The less I do, the more I feel like I'm not slowing down fast enough. Okay, this is Safe Harbor. Go sleep in the hurricane's eye, in the huddle of redwoods weathering flames. Go occupy the inner rest point, then ask, what's worth giving away my serenity on? Pray for a choice. Cover your nose and sleep in a curl of leaves when the cold or heat or smoke pervade. Find a reason to purr. Use your hands to do useful things. Sew that button back on that's been missing since Savannah. Needlepoint your poems on a pillow cover, then lay your head down there. Hum lullabies, though you're already sleeping. Remember you're familiar just there at the edge of speechless. If you think you don't have one, you know what to do. Imagine water, then drink some. See your grandmother's face in the mirror. When the mind fabricates, what the mind fabricates need not hijack the body into its dream. Let the body rest. The rest is easy. Feel the edges of your skin meeting the not me. When something wrong happens, respond fully, then come home. Be safe harbor. Be someone you can trust. All right, and the last couple here. Thank you all. Maybe you can tell I'm a meditator. I have the theme of meditation runs through a lot of my poems. But anyway, this is Meditation Wager. Can the mind release its bet hedging, second guessing, double clicking, its fast forwarding of each incoming thought to multiple virtual addresses? Can the eyelids bless their job of shielding out worldly sight? Pieces of past and future will weave their story threads together without my pretend fingers overworking. And I wager another round of life will start all by itself, just now, and now, and now. Giving the breath back is the surest bet. That and not needing to know a who or a what or a where or a what then. The stacked decks all unshuffle, fold their weary karma. Cards lie still beyond the dealer's reach. But the wheel is still spinning, and I bet you that wherever it stops will be okay. And last short one, islands. No one can forbid stringing together silences, breath by breath, creating islands of peace, despite crazed inner and outer fanatics spewing threat and ruin. Take refuge in the silence between rages, the truce that is there beyond all provocation. Have you had such moments, such strings of pearls, such unexpected islands giving safe harbor to weary crossers of stormy seas? Thank you all, and thank you for sharing your poetry. It's been a real pleasure to listen tonight.
Folks, you can unmute and let her know. Let her know.
Oh, so lovely. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kitty. It was wonderful. Safe harbor, be someone you can trust. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to engrave that somewhere. I'm going to engrave it.
So wonderful. I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.